Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my big mess. You can look around. I've just been so busy and doing all kinds of painting and putting on decals or decals, if you will, and doing lots of things actually. And I haven't made videos in a while, and there's a couple reasons for that. Here, I'm just going to set this camera down, pull up a chair, and I'll show you what I've been up to and talk about it a bit. Yeah, so there's a few reasons why I haven't been doing them. Part of which is because I've been busy, but other parts is because there's just some things that have been going on in life, and things that I'm not whining about. Just other things that you have to take care of, right? Family matters, and plus there's some things that are bothering me, and so like if you're not having fun making videos, then you shouldn't be making them, right? Should wait until you get past that, and then have some fun again. But anyway, before we start having a heart-to-heart about all that stuff, I was going to wait until I was done all this and then make a video in the war room and everything. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just invite you in, and I was going to do some painting here, like some. This is for the weathering of all the 3D printed ships that I'm doing for the 1914 game. But then I thought, well, I don't want to be making a mess and get it all over my camera and everything, and just be distracted by that. So I can wait until after the video is done, and then I can start that. But speaking of which, the 1914 game, let's start there, since that's been one of the reasons that I haven't done many videos. One of the biggest reasons, actually, because I've had the 1914 map on my table, and it's still on there, although I've got it flipped upside down, because there's some. I'm done with playtesting. We're done with playtesting. We're done. The game is done. Loving it. I can tell you, like a year ago, I wasn't loving it. I thought this is a really good game, but it's got some holes in it, and we did a lot more research, and we had another playtest group come on about it that time, and they really helped out because these guys are really good global war players, and so they were able to find some holes pretty quickly, ones that we hadn't even identified, and so Bob and I and Doug, we put our heads together with these other guys, and threw together some ideas and tried things, and because having an idea in your head sounds good, but until you try it, then you don't know if it's going to work or not. And let's be clear about something. I mean, this is going to be a first edition of a game, and there, until you 50 to 100 people or more start playing this game, you're never going to find every single problem with it, right? It just isn't possible to do that. Like, I can't possibly think up everything that you're going to think of. And like, just like you're not going to be able to think of what the guy across the table is thinking, right? People are going to come up with new things, and so we're not under any illusion that the first edition of the game isn't going to eventually need a second edition, and that the second edition will be better, and if there's a third edition, that'll be even better, and but we think that this is a pretty darn good game. The first edition of this game is going to be pretty good, and I know I'm really proud of the work that I did on it, and I'm proud of the other guys and the work that they did on it. It's a really good game, and I wish I could tell you more about it. I know, I haven't done any videos on it and everything, and the reason for that is because there are people out there in the community who keep wanting to steal our work. Like, you see their maps that they put out, and they, wow, that looks a lot like a global war map. Sure, you've changed the color, and you cut this territory in half and gave a couple of things different names, but man, that's the same map, and a lot of the ideas that we have, all of a sudden they've got the same idea, and like, the thing is that HBG is not a huge company, right? Like, it's not this big corporation that can absorb losses of people like using their game and using their maps and everything. They're a small company, and in the middle of the United States, in a fairly small community, and we all rely on that to get our good roundels and markers and all the pieces and everything. And it's just not going to be there if people keep stealing their stuff like that and giving it away for free. Then that company's not going to last forever. And I'm not trying to speak for them. This is me speculating here. That I hope that people don't do that, because I think that it's great to have a company that like, I don't know what I would do without them, without being able to get all these cool pieces. I mean, the games are great. That might even be the best part of the company. But man, like, just to think about the small things, like not having access to all those good little markers and everything, having to use those little frickin' cardboard pieces that came out of the Axis and Allies game once they started, or once the Wizards of the Coast started doing it. Like that, all that stuff is going to go away if people don't support them. And people do support them really well. They got a really good customer base and everything. But there's just a couple of people out there that are just trying to ruin it for everybody. I mean, maybe they're not purposely trying to do that, but that's exactly what's happening, right? And that's why I can't make videos. That's why I can't show you what the board looks like. I can't show you where all the new C zones are, and all the new roundels that are on the map. And like, the game has changed a lot since last time I made a video on that, where there was some gameplay between Colonel Bob and I. The game has changed a lot since then, especially in Asia. Like, I'm really excited to be able to show it to you when it does finally come out, and it's looking like spring. Like I said earlier, the game is finished, but in this period that we're going through right now, this pandemic period, it's really, really difficult to get things done, right? To get plastic pieces made and things like that, to be able to produce components. I mean, we're running into supply issues on a lot of different items, regular items that we never really would have thought would be an issue, but we're running into those issues, and like HBG has the same challenges, right? Trying to get things like that. And so it's been delayed. We had hoped it would come out next month, but now it's looking like spring. But like I said, though, the game is done, and it's a good game, and I can't wait for you to try it out. It's going to be great. My next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the 3D printed pieces for the ships, because a lot of people have been buying them, but they're not sure how many to buy, right? Like, if you're out there buying 10 French cruisers, you've got way too many. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to show you the pieces, what's available right now, a little bit of a preview on what's coming up, because there will be more 3D printed ships coming out, and tell you how many of them you will likely need for the game. That way, when the game does come out, at least you'll have your navies ready to go, right? Or at least mostly ready to go. And that's not for everybody. Like, there's also going to be plastic pieces coming out. That's one of the reasons for the delay in putting the game out, is that Doug's got to make the plastic for these things, or he's got to get somebody to, right? And so there will be plastic pieces, but it won't be as detailed, of course. Like, plastic pieces aren't as detailed as these 3D printed. And also, I think, at least in the beginning, and I don't know if it'll ever change, but there's only going to be two types. There's going to be an Entente piece and a Central Powers piece. So, like, all the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary and Ottoman, they will all have the same tank, right? And the same artillery piece, and so, like, there will just be two types of pieces, the same cruiser, all of that stuff, right? Here, let me take a drink of this. Still morning here on the West Coast. Anyway, so this buying them, the 3D printed ones, is mostly just for the hobbyists, right? The people who enjoy doing the painting, the people who have a couple of extra dollars to spare and don't mind spending it on this. I mean, there's so many places where you can spend your money, And but the people who do make the choice to spend their money on this hobby, and they like to buy the cool pieces, then this will just be one way to do it. And I'm gonna show you how to, or how many pieces that you're gonna need, so that you can get started or get finished if you've already started. Let me just show you an example here. Like I'll do a whole a video on these ships, but anyway, this is a pre-dreadnought. This is here. I better do this. I can't see the video. Like you can see that I'm not sitting next to the picture. But anyway, this is the French pre-dread. This is the Messina, and this is it as you would get it out of the box, right? From HBG. It's printed in gray, right? So that's it there. And then, like for me, what I do is I print it in the color that my French pieces are painted in, and it's some kind of light blue. It's I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a Rust-Oleum 2 times paint or whatever. I think I've showed it to you before. Anyway, then after I do the weathering, that's when it looks like this. This one probably got weathered a little bit too much. Like it's a little too dark, right? Probably a little too dark for my tastes. And then I've got gray painted on, but the gray doesn't show up very well on these blue pieces, so you can't see the gray very well. And I do the gray just because that's what I'm going to do with the pre-dreadnoughts. Here is an example of the 3D printed armored cruiser. This is the Rune class armored cruiser for Germany. Man, I'm painting the cruisers yellow, right? There's not very many ship types in this game, as you'll see when I do that video. They're just there's fewer, much fewer than the 36 game. And then also, like here is, oh, I got to take that little piece off. That's why I brought this one out here. There's a little bit of 3D printed stuff on here. There we go. There. So this is one of the dreadnoughts. This is the Corbeil dreadnought for the French, and I've painted those black, just like my battleships in the 36 game, because that's what these are. And the pre-dreadnoughts were battleships as well, right? But I'm going to get into that in much more detail in my next video. And as you can see, like I've got American pieces here. There's pre-dreadnoughts and dreadnoughts and armored cruisers. I've got some French cruisers, some Japanese cruisers, Italian cruisers. These are the British cruiser, the Minotaur. And I did have a set of them already, but the masts on them were too thin and they broke too easy. So Doug went back to the drawing table and made the masts a lot thicker. And and so now it works. Anyway, sometimes when I get a broken mast, like this is the American piece here. This is the Tennessee armored cruiser, and there's a broken mast back here. Like this is what it's supposed to look like, right? And so I'm just going to use it for the for a cruiser for my neutral navies. Like I don't really care too much about the neutral navies, right? But I could also just send it back, and Doug would send me a new one. So if you get any 3D printed pieces from him, and there's a mast broken off or a gun barrel or whatever, then you can he'll just send you a new one. You just show him that. Anyway, lots of work on 3D printed pieces that I've been doing lately. Like I did a whole thing on facilities. This is the seaplane base, and there he's got all kinds of bases, shipyards and dockyards and things like that. I don't think he's got an air base yet, but anyway, he's got lots of other things. And I just started doing these infantry here. I had to get some paint from Panzer King, because speaking of supply problems, I could not get this. I could not get my paint. There's a few different kinds of paint that I can't get, and that he can't get. We're both under orders. If you see my paint, buy it. You know, because apparently what it was, I was talking to a person in a paint store, and they were saying that that there was a factory in Texas where that produces resin, and that factory blew up or something. I'm not sure, and another one shut down. So there's a real short supply of resin right now. and I guess that goes into, it's one of the components in the spray paint that we use. And so it's really hard to, like, if you might have noticed, if you do your own painting, that that some of the paints are just not being restocked, like those shelves are only half stocked. That could be the reason why, right? Anyway, there's lots of 3D printed pieces coming out. This is the Nautilus sub, so I'm using these. I already got some from him long before he put them out. He sent me, oh, it must have been 3 dozen of them last year, and I painted them all up. These are for, I'm going to use them for Advanced Submarine for the 36 game, right? And this, he's got, he decided to 3D print some icebergs. I'm not sure if you come up with any rules for those or what, but anyway, if you wanted an iceberg on your map, there you go, right? I think he just put out the Yamato just recently. And it's a lot nicer, of course, than the Axis and Allies piece of the Yamato, right? And he's had the Super Yamato here. That's been out for quite a while. This one just came out too. This is the, I think, Kuma class light cruiser. These are not 3D printed. These are just regular tanks from HBG. And I pretty much replaced 99% of my tanks over the last year or two with HBG tanks instead of Axis and Allies. Because, like, here, I wanted to show you the difference. Like the Axis and Allies tank, like, it's just a round bottom, you know what I mean? It's got no tracks on it and everything. And when I first started buying HBG tanks, they were smaller, right? Like, you look at the difference between this HBG tank and the Axis and Allies tank, right? One is a lot bigger than the other. And so it looked like that I was using, you know, regular tanks and light tanks, but I wasn't. They were both medium. And so just about all of my Axis and Allies tanks have been taken out of service and replaced with these nicer ones, like with tracks on them and, you know, better detail and everything. I've put decals on these for all the nations. I'm just about done. Actually, I think I am caught up. The only thing I haven't done, like, I've just painted these pieces. I've just received them. And so it's just a matter of going forward and putting decals on the pieces that I already have, right? Anyway, as far as this Italian tank goes, like, he just put this one out recently. You'll see on the website there's two options. One is Axis and Allies size, and the other one is HBG size. Rather than just put out, you know, okay, this is so many millimeters and this one's so many millimeters. I mean, that doesn't really mean much to most people, right? So HBG just put out, this is this Axis and Allies size, and this is HBG size, depending on what type of tank you put in your game. And like I said, with my game, I'm going to all this size, so I definitely chose this size of tank to use, right? And replacing all of my bigger ones. I think I've only got a couple of neutral tanks left. All of my, that's why I've got these ones, right? These Italian ones, or sorry, these Japanese ones, just because I just replacing all my Japanese tanks right now. Anyway, if you're still playing with Axis and Allies, then you might want to go for the Axis and Allies size, right? Just so you don't have a smaller tank on the board for the Italians. So you've got that option. Like here, this is also 3D printed. It's a really nice tank as well, right? And I got the decals on her, decals. I usually say decal, but people have been hacking on me about that. It's decal. Anyway, that one is the heavy tank is the same size as the HB or the Axis and Allies tank. And see, that's why what I wanted to get away from. I wanted the heavy tank to be a little bit larger than the medium tank, right? And so that's why I've got the smaller tanks now. Anyway, those are nice pieces, and there's lots of Italian pieces coming out. Like here, I've just finished these planes over here. Just finished putting the decals on them. This is an Italian medium bomber. What is it? Cant 118 or something like that. So now they've got their own medium bomber. I was using German ones before, right? And there's a heavy strategic bomber, Cant 114 or something. So that's an actual Italian heavy bomber. And there's another one coming out soon, another 3D printed Italian heavy bomber coming out. And they've got a couple of different types of Italian fighters already for 3D printed. There's this one. This one's really quite nice. And this, I think you can get this in a medium bomber, or you can get it in a tactical bomber like this one. This is actually, I do have the medium bomber as well. So there it is. It's basically the same plane, but two different sizes, right? One's a medium bomber and one's a tactical bomber. That's the SM-79, I believe. So anyway, lots of choices lately. There's a light cruiser that he put out recently, and a little while further back there was the carrier, I think it was the Aquila that he put out. Lots of new Italian pieces anyway. And these planes over here, like now you can get a Zero, a 3D printed Zero, and that's a lot nicer than the Axis and Allies Zero. Although it's just a fighter. I mean, if you don't have the money, you don't need to get a new one, but I kind of wanted it. And there's the Nell and the Betty bomber. I'm not sure which is which, but I've got both of them here. Maybe you know which is which, but those are both 3D printed. And because I'm replacing them, I took a look. I didn't bring any of them out here, but they're a lot nicer than the ones that you get for Axis and Allies. They're the ones that they use for the strategic bomber, right? But in Axis and Allies, but really these are a medium bomber, and there's either 3D printed or even plastic ones that you can get from HBG for the strategic bomber. Anyway, lots of pieces there. What else do I got here? I got some balloons here. These are observation balloons for the World War I game. Have to finish them off. I just finished, like they're putting the decals on my Zeppelins and stuff. And there's so many more pieces. Like, man, I got to catch up on all of these. Like, look at all these things. And he's coming out with different colors of printing as well, I noticed. Like this is I'm pretty sure this is a King Tiger, but it's yellow. And they got some of the pieces are black already. So if you didn't want to paint and you're getting German pieces, then you know there's the rat, right? And there's lots of them that you can get, and that's the same thing in gray. And lots of gliders coming out. I just watched a cool movie on gliders. What is it called there? It's on Netflix right now. Anyway, it's in the top 10 movies right now. It's a Dutch movie, World War II movie. Anyway, it was pretty good. I watched it last night. So I got that. I've got a couple of those Copsworth 3D printed pieces that I got to catch up on. And that's about it. I could keep showing you these pieces, but there's not much more. I'll show you this. This is, where is it there? This is just recently put out. This is the Virginia. I'm looking for the Florida though. Yeah, here it is. This is the Florida class Dreadnought. So that's cool. Anyway, let's move along. So yeah, 14 game coming out soon. 2025 is coming out really soon. I just seen a video. I think it was just put out today by HBG, and it was done by Will Henson. And man, that game looks really cool. I did play it when I was in Tulsa, and it was a fun game. It moves a lot faster. Like, it's not one of these games where you you need to eat right and get yourself in shape first. You know, like these huge games, right? This is a game that you're going to be able to play in a day, and then once everybody learns how to play it well, then I'm sure you'll be able to get it done in like 3 or 4 hours, right? So it's a really cool game, and there's modern weapons, you know, like modern ships and missiles, and you know, there's nukes in it and everything, as you would expect from a 2025 game. And I think it was yesterday they put out a game, and it was done by one of their newest designers named Johnny Galvez. He's a young man, really enthusiastic. It's a Roman Empire game, and that looks really cool too. There's no pieces for it. You have to buy your own pieces, but they give you recommendations, and HBG sells a lot of those pieces, if not all of them. So that's a cool looking game. It's a map of the Mediterranean, and there's different factions. I haven't really looked into it too much, but it looks cool. Recently, the Midway game came out as well, and I know of at least 3 theater games that they're developing right now. In fact, I think I'm going to be helping to playtest one of them in the next few weeks here, and I'm looking forward to that. But I can't give you any information on that or any of the other things that are in development for the reasons I told you about earlier, right? It's a shame, but that's the way it's got to be. Um, One of the things I wanted to show you was this guy here. Now this is my cavalry piece um, from the 1914 game. It's actually a Cossack. And when I do these pieces, like this is the finished one, I don't use a regular, like a normal coating for the coating on the outside. I use this one, this Munition Varnish. This one's a gray. Like you can get it in different colors. I've seen a green one. I don't know what other colors are, but I do a gray one because I want it to look old, right? I wanted my World War One pieces to look old. But this is what happens when you do it too much gray. I don't know if you can tell on the camera there, but especially the top there, it's just way too gray. It turned out too gray on them, and it's such a long process to do the whole thing that I just left them like that. Like I could redo it, but just spraying a little bit too much, that's what happens. So don't worry if you make a mistake like I did there. You can either fix it or you can live with it, and the next piece you'll do will be a lot better. So I just wanted to show you that really quickly. The next thing I want to show you is something that's really cool. Now, you know that Doug's put out these dice trays recently, right? Like leather dice trays here. These things here. And there's a bunch of pictures on them that you can get. But I said, man, that'd be cool to have, my little General Hand Grenade symbol in there. And he thought, yeah, but you know what? You need to update that thing. Get yourself a Canadian tank and everything. So anyway, this is what he did. He made me this dice tray, and he changed my logo. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that because it's just a tiny little icon on my videos, but the color of my tank has changed, and the tank has got Canadian symbols on. There's 3 different Canadian symbols that you would find on a Canadian tank. I'll put a picture up right now as I'm talking here. When I edit it, I'll put a picture in. But anyway, that's really cool. And the other thing he sent me at the same time, check this out. Little hand grenades. General hand grenade. Anyway, what they are, I discovered, was like for your tires. Like your car or truck tires. You screw it on, and that would, like this is the cap for them. But I'm not going to do that because this is plastic, right? And up here in the Canadian winters, it gets really cold, and this plastic is likely to break on me. And plus, I wouldn't want to wreck these anyway. These are pretty cool. There's 4 of them, obviously. Like a car has 4 tires, right? So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I think I'm going to, like, I could mark my battles with them. Oh, you're going to get attacked by General Hand Grenade here and over here in Gibraltar. Anyway, thanks a lot, Doug. This is awesome. I love it, man. And I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to actually use that. I got a YouTube war coming up in January. I was going to get in on the last one, the one that's going on right now, but I wasn't done with the 14 game, and I've only got 1 table, right? So I had to bow out of that game, and I'm going to get in on the next game, which is scheduled to start in January. But of course, we'll have to make sure, right? Like, it hasn't started yet, so we'll believe it when it happens, right? But yeah, that's the tentative start date is around New Year's. And I'm looking forward to it, and you'll see all my new pieces with all the decals on them, and I pretty much redid my whole game since the last time you seen my 36 game. Because usually when you see me play 36, you see me play over at Panzer King's house, over in the Lion's Den, right? And we're using his pieces, but so you haven't seen my table in a long time. Or like you might see the odd piece or whatever, but Just about every piece I have has changed. I had this goal in mind that I was going to replace all of my Axis and Allies pieces, and you can't quite do that because, like, there's no options for AA guns, for instance, right? So, like I can live with the AA guns, but man, just about all of my ships and mechanical units, and of course I use all custom infantry and everything, right? So there's hardly any Axis and Allies pieces on the board. And it's not that I don't like them. I mean, I love the Axis and Allies game. It's just I this is a hobby for me, and I was looking for more detail in my pieces, and that gave me something to do. I haven't worked in almost a year now because of health reasons, and so this has given me something to do, right? Anyway, let's take a drink and move on here. Okay, so next thing I wanted to talk about was young Grasshopper. He recently put out a video saying that he was going to take a break. He was going to put his channel on hold, and he didn't really have any plans for return. And like I've talked to him a few times. We don't talk weekly or anything like that. It's only every few months. But when we do talk, it's usually a pretty good heart to heart, an hour or two long conversations, and I consider him a good friend. And he's the reason that I started making videos. I was sick and laid up from surgery, and I watched his videos, and I thought I could do that, and so I tried to do it, and it's led me a lot of different places, and I'm very appreciative that he inspired me to do that. And I wish him well, not just because he helped me out with that, but also because he's a good guy, and a friend, and whatever he's got going on, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. Obviously, it's nobody's business, but whatever reason that he needed to step away from making videos and things, I support him on that. I hope that everything goes well. I hope that whatever he does, whether it's a new job or a new home or anything that he tries his hand at, I hope that things go well. And I'll never forget the tournament there and all the people that I met, and especially meeting him. It was a lot of fun. It's a memory that I'll never forget. And so if you, I don't know if you're ever going to watch this, bud, but if you are, then I wish you well, and I'm sure we'll talk again in the near future. I'll give you a call one of these days. So good luck, Mr. Grasshopper of the young variety. And I'm sure that most of the people watching this video know who I'm talking about. Probably all of them do. And I'm sure that they all feel the same way, that they hope everything's well for you, and that whatever you decide to do is going to be successful. And if you ever come back, then we're going to welcome you back with open arms. So you take care. Take good care of yourself. So what's next? Not much more. I wanted to talk about why I haven't, the other reasons why I haven't done many videos lately. So I've talked to you about, okay, the 14 games kept me busy. A lot of other things that kept me busy. But one of the things, a couple of the things, let me just start with this one. My dad just passed away just about 2 weeks ago now. And that was something that was weighing on my mind and on my heart. That's a difficult thing to go through. It's okay though. I mean, like, that's what happened. Is just the natural order of things. At some point in our lives, we're all going to lose two parents, right? At least that's the way it should be. Because I tell you, I would hate it if I lost one of my kids, right? Like, I should die before they do, and so that's, I'm sure that my parents felt the same way about me and my sisters, right? But that was, it was difficult, but it's just something that happens, and it's something, like I said, that we probably will all have to go through twice in our lives. And I needed some time, not just after it happened, but it was tough before, because he was very, very sick, like really sick, and I'm actually happy that his suffering is over, because he was suffering a great deal. Um, I'm not saying I'm happy that he died. You know, I'm just saying that I'm glad that he's not suffering anymore. And so that's something that was difficult, and it was hard for me. It's not like I can't say that it was hard when I was making a video to concentrate on that, but if it's hard to find motivation and inspiration when there are things that are weighing you down, right? And like there's that, and there's something else, and there's something else, and oh, I just don't feel like it today, kind of thing, right? I feel a lot better now. Like it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm starting to feel a lot better, um, and I've got a couple of videos in mind that I'm going to make after this one. Not today or anything. I've got to paint these pieces, but there's going to be a Russian strategy video, and there's going to be a piece of a video that I've already told you about the ships for the 1914 game. Um, but yeah, like I feel like there's been a weight that's been lifted off my shoulders there, and I'm ready um, to move on, from that, and I hope my sisters are too, and my stepmom, and anyway, there's that, right? And another thing that, and maybe this is more than anything why I haven't been making videos lately, is that the, the internet is just not the place it used to be when I started making videos. Like it's just so dark now, right? You can't make any kind of video or say anything on the internet without somebody criticizing you or criticizing something or trying to start some shit. It's really getting tiresome, like some things that just there's no controversy whatsoever, and somebody wants to make it controversial. Like there used to be, I've been online, an online presence for a long time, even long before I was in this community, and it was always, there was always that one troll that was bothering everybody, right? Now it seems like close to half the people on there are trolls. And I'm sad to say that in our community, there's at least a half a dozen of them. You can't say anything, you can't do anything. And who knows, maybe that was something that was bothering Grasshopper. I don't know. I know I've talked to some of the other YouTubers, and it's really starting to bother them. It weighs you down, right? You're doing this to have fun, right? Like I just want to play with my little plastic army men on the internet and have fun, and you get people that are just hacking on you. They don't like the way some rules are written or something. Well, so what? It's just a game, right? I didn't write the rules, so like people ask me a lot about rules questions because I know the designers, and plus I know the rules really well. Like a lot of the times I help the designers make the rules, just partially, like that they're still the author of those rules and everything, but so I know the rules really well, and people ask me, okay, well, what does this rule mean? And I tell them, and then well, that's not what it says, and oh, geez, I know, and so where the conversation is going to go after that, not because of that person, but because you've had this conversation so many times over the last year or two. People just want to argue, and you didn't ask me what the rule said. You asked me what it meant, and I went and talked to the guy, whoever that guy is. There's several of them. I went and talked to the guy, and he told me what it meant, and so I told you what it meant, and now you want to argue with me and tell me that that's not the way it is, and it's becoming so tiresome. I just honestly, I don't know that I can do that anymore. Like I've almost quit making videos altogether. Like just signed off of my channel and said I'm done. Because it's not fun. It's not fun when people do that. I'm not having much fun. I have fun playing the game. When we get together and play a game, it's a lot of fun. I love the games. I love painting my little pieces. What I don't love, and like I could open my phone right now. I usually get comments just about every day on my videos. I had one guy, like I was at the lake having fun with my kids and my grandkids, and I must have got 10 comments on 10 different videos from the same guy, on old Axis and Allies videos, about how stupid this was and how stupid that was, and how how an idiot I was, and it's too bad that I didn't live in your town so I could kick your ass, and all this shit, right? Like I eventually ended up having to ban that guy, by the end of the day. Usually I just leave people. I just, whatever, I'm not going to respond kind of thing. And I'm getting to the point where I'm just about ready to start banning people from my channel, you know. And like I said, there's probably only half a dozen of them in our community, but man, it's just too much. Like nobody cares what you think, dude. Nobody, none of us care what you think. You know, go make your own channel. We'll wait till the other trolls get onto you, then you can see how much fun it is. Seriously, like this is not fun, and it's not just in our community. I mean, it's way worse in other places. Like I hardly ever comment on Facebook anymore. I stay on there because I get videos of my granddaughters and stuff on there, and I follow what's going on in the Access and Allies community on there, and stuff. And still, like that's maybe the worst place on the internet right now. It's just terrible, the discourse on there, and people that were your friends and you thought were good people, they're just turning into assholes. Like literally, right before your eyes. You weren't like that a year ago, but it's getting so bad, and it's sad to see that our society is devolving like that. And I'm sure it's happening. I'm sure that most of you that are listening to this know exactly what I'm talking about. It's becoming a dark place, and it's too bad. But for somebody that has a channel or something, like it's not just YouTube. It could be you're an Instagrammer, or you're this or that or whatever. Channels that I've never heard of or anything. I'm sure you're starting to feel it too. Like this, is all this worth it? Is all this abuse worth having to put up with these people, right? So that's probably why I I just can't find the inspiration to go make another video, just so some asshole can go on there and tell me why I'm wrong, or that rule is stupid. Well, fuck off, okay? I didn't write the rule. Go talk to the guy that wrote the rule, and even he doesn't care, okay? Anyway, I know that most people are good people, and most people don't do that. I appreciate 99% of my subscribers, and I've got to know so many of them over the years, and made so many friends in the community. And I wish you could just cut it off at that, right? But unfortunately, when you become a public persona like I have, I guess that's what you volunteer to do when you have a channel, and that's not something that you sign up for, but you find out that that's indeed exactly what you signed up for, and you're just gonna have to suck it up and put up with it or leave, and you get to that point where you think, well, should I leave? Is this worth it anymore, to have to answer questions incessantly and have people argue with you when they don't like the answers that you went and found for them? You took time out of your day to find the answer for them, and they still want to argue with you. It's hard. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy playing with my little plastic army men. I just don't enjoy trolls, and I'm losing more and more patience for them. And you might have seen that online. You might have seen me make comments and think, well, that wasn't a very nice thing to say. And yeah, I'm getting sucked into that. I hate that, and that's one of the reasons that I just stepped away. Is I don't want to be that person. I don't want to get sucked into that. But it's hard when you're out there and a lot of people are taking shots at you, right? They want to get you because you're the one with the thousands of subscribers. And anyway, let's hope that just as things change to get this dark, that they change again, and people start being nicer to each other and more respectful of each other, because that's the way most people are in real life. It's just when they get online and they're sitting behind their computer, and then they think they can say whatever they want. Anyway, This video has probably gone on long enough. I got my son coming over any time for lunch here, so I better wrap this up. But I did want to sit down and talk with you guys and tell you I'm still here. You know, painting my little pieces and getting ready for the next game. And yes, I do plan on making more videos. They haven't put the final nail in my coffin yet. I'm still kicking. So anyway, thanks again for being subscribers and for sticking with me even when I'm not making videos. And well, just take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.